you can overcome your insecurity. Ladies and gentlemen, life is suffering. That is the fundamental truth, and part of that suffering, perhaps one of the most painful parts, is insecurity. The gnawing doubt that whispers, you're not good enough, the fear that others see your flaws as clearly as you do, and the crushing weight of comparison, where you measure yourself against an impossible ideal. But listen, insecurity is not a sentence, it's a challenge. It's an invitation. You feel insecure because you know deep down that you could be more than you are. And that realization is not something to run from. It's something to embrace. The first step in overcoming your insecurity is to stop lying to yourself. People say, I'm just not confident, as if it's an immutable trait like the color of your eyes. But that's false. Confidence is earned. It's the consequence of competence, and competence is built through effort, sacrifice, and discipline. You don't get to feel secure until you've proven, most importantly, to yourself that you're capable. So what do? You stop fixating on the ideal version of yourself that you've constructed in your mind, this perfect image that only serves to humiliate you. You need a target, yes, but you also need to start where you are. Look at yourself honestly. Identify one thing, just one, that you could improve. Maybe it's the way you carry yourself. Maybe it's your ability to articulate your thoughts. Maybe it's your physical health, your work ethic, or your ability to tell the truth. Find something small, something manageable, and fix it. Insecurity is not just an emotion, it's a signal. It emerges when there is a gap between who you are and who you could be. That discomfort, that self-doubt, is your mind's way of telling you that something needs to change. People often think of insecurity as a personal defect, a weakness that should be hidden or ignored. But this is the wrong way to look at it. Insecurity is not a permanent state, nor is it an enemy. It's a challenge, an invitation to step forward and address the very things that make you feel inadequate. When you feel insecure, you are recognizing, consciously or unconsciously, that you have room to grow. It means you are aware, at some level, of your own potential. If you were truly incapable, if there was no hope of improvement, you wouldn't feel insecure, you would feel resigned. The fact that insecurity bothers you means that you know you could be more than you are, and that's a crucial realization. It's a painful one, yes, but pain is often the precursor to transformation. Many people allow insecurity to paralyze them. They see their self-doubt as proof that they are doomed to remain inadequate. But this is an illusion. Insecurity is a call to action, not a final judgment. It is telling you to take stock of yourself, to honestly assess your weaknesses and shortcomings, and to do something about them. That's difficult, of course, because it requires humility. It requires admitting that you are not yet who you want to be. But what's the alternative? To pretend you're fine as you are. To ignore the nagging voice that tells you to improve. That's not strength, it's avoidance. The challenge of insecurity is that it forces you to confront your own limitations, and that's uncomfortable. But discomfort is not always a bad thing. It's a sign that you're being stretched, that you're stepping outside your comfort zone. And that's where growth happens. The person who refuses to acknowledge their insecurity remains stuck. The person who listens to it, who interprets it as a challenge, begins to change. The key is not to drown in insecurity, but to use it as a guide. It's pointing to something specific. Maybe it's your lack of discipline, your inability to articulate your thoughts clearly, your poor physical condition, your fear of social interaction, or your reluctance to take risks. Whatever it is, your insecurity is highlighting an area where you need to improve. The mistake people make is assuming that their insecurity means they are fundamentally broken. That's not true. It simply means there's work to do. If you start seeing insecurity as a challenge instead of a condemnation, you will stop resenting it. You will begin to appreciate it for what it is, a necessary, albeit uncomfortable, part of growth. It won't disappear overnight, but it will evolve. What once felt like an overwhelming weight will start to feel like a roadmap. Instead of running from it, you'll use it to push yourself forward. Confidence is not something you are born with, it is something you earn. People often believe that some individuals are simply more confident than others, as if it were an innate trait bestowed at birth. This is not true. Confidence is the byproduct of competence, and competence is built through effort, discipline, and experience. If you feel insecure in any area of your life, it is likely because you lack the necessary skill, knowledge, or preparation to feel capable. That is not an insult, it is an opportunity. It means that confidence is not out of reach. It is something you can cultivate step by step through the pursuit of competence. The mistake many people make is expecting confidence to precede action. They think they need to feel confident before they can take risks, speak up, or put themselves in challenging situations. But this is the wrong way to approach it. Confidence does not come first, action does. You develop confidence by proving to yourself over time that you are capable. This requires a shift in perspective. Instead of waiting to feel ready, you start where you are, even if that means beginning with small, seemingly insignificant improvements. Each step forward, no matter how minor, builds competence. And as competence increases, so does confidence. This process applies to every area of life. If you feel insecure about your social skills, the solution is not to avoid people until you magically feel confident. It is to start engaging, to practice having conversations, to refine your ability to communicate effectively. If you feel insecure about your physical appearance, the answer is not to dwell in self-loathing. It is to take control of what you can, your health, your fitness, your posture, your habits. The same principle applies to public speaking, creative pursuits, business relationships, and any other domain where insecurity arises. You do not become confident by wishing for it. You become confident by doing the work necessary to become competent. This is difficult because it demands effort and patience. People want instant results. They want to wake up one day and suddenly feel secure, but that is not how it works. Confidence is earned through struggle, failure, and persistence. You will not always succeed on the first attempt. You will stumble, you will make mistakes, and you will doubt yourself along the way. But those experiences are not evidence of your inadequacy. They are the very process through which competence is built. The more you engage with the challenge, the more you refine your ability, and the more you prove to yourself that you are capable of handling it. The good news is that this process compounds. The more competent you become, the less you need to rely on external validation. Instead of seeking reassurance from others, you will have direct proof of your own ability. You will not need to convince yourself that you are confident. You will simply know that you are. And that knowledge, earned through effort, will replace insecurity with genuine, unshakable confidence. Taking responsibility is the foundation of personal transformation. When people feel insecure, they often believe the solution lies in external validation, in the approval of others, or in some sudden change in circumstance that will magically erase their doubts. But that's not how it works. The only way to overcome insecurity is to take responsibility for your own improvement and commit to moving forward, even when it is difficult. No one else is coming to fix your situation. No one else is going to hand you confidence or success. That burden and that opportunity rests entirely on you. People avoid responsibility because it is uncomfortable. It is much easier to blame external factors, to say that society, upbringing, genetics, or bad luck are the reasons for personal struggles. But while those things may play a role, they do not define the outcome. What defines the outcome is whether or not you choose to act despite the challenges. If you refuse to take responsibility for your growth, you surrender control over your life. You resign yourself to insecurity and remain trapped by it. But the moment you take ownership of your situation, everything changes. When you acknowledge that it is within your power to improve, you no longer see insecurity as an unchangeable state, but as a problem to be solved through deliberate action. Moving forward does not mean waiting until conditions are perfect. It does not mean waiting until you feel ready or until fear disappears. That moment will never come. There will always be reasons to hesitate, always excuses that seem valid in the moment. But growth requires stepping forward despite uncertainty. It requires doing the thing you fear before you feel fully prepared. That is where real progress happens. Insecurity feeds on inaction, but action starves insecurity. The more you prove to yourself that you can handle adversity, the less power your doubts will have over you. This does not mean you must make drastic changes overnight. Small, consistent actions are more powerful than grand, unsustainable efforts. If you feel weak, train your body. If you feel ignorant, educate yourself. If you feel socially awkward, engage in more conversations. If you feel incapable, take on small challenges and complete them. Each small victory builds momentum. Each success, no matter how minor, reinforces the idea that you are capable of improvement. And as you accumulate these victories, insecurity begins to lose its grip. Failure is inevitable along the way. There will be moments where progress seems slow, where setbacks occur, where old doubts resurface. But failure is not a reason to stop. It is part of the process. Every successful person has failed, often repeatedly. The difference is that they did not let failure define them. They took responsibility, adjusted their approach, and kept going. Each time you get up after falling, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of overcoming obstacles. That resilience, built through continuous effort, is what ultimately replaces insecurity with confidence. Thanks for watching.